Iansan was one of my most anticipated Not-Lon characters. I've been waiting to pull for her since I first saw her in the Teyvat chapter storyline preview. So in an effort to at least get her up to C2, I saved up over 200 wishes for her. And after all those wishes, I was left with one copy. Yeah. Let's just say my 4-star luck is really awful. And, who did I get in her place, you may ask? Well, it was, a lot more Gommings than I knew what to do with. Even with this setback, though, one copy of Iansan was enough for me to still try and turn her into a DPS. You may be thinking that there's no way Iansan can be a DPS, right? She's just another support like Bennett. Interestingly enough, though, Iansan does have some DPS potential baked into her kit, as when she's in her Night Soul state and does a charge attack, it's converted into electro damage, which is pretty cool in my opinion. Along with that, Iansan's burst can also replenish her Night Soul, giving her more on-field time to do more damage. This sounds all good in theory, but how well does this work in practice? Well, to answer this question, I've gone ahead and crafted up not 1, not 2, but 4 whole DPS Iansan teams to try out today. We'll be comparing each of these teams against each other to see which one is the best, so stay tuned for that. But to start off, there's one last thing I need to do to prepare Iansan for these teams, and that's of course to crown her. It's finally time for DPS Iansan. I've honestly been working really hard on the preparations for this video. I've been kind of going as fast as I can to get this out to y'all as fast as I can. We're just going to make some final preparations here. I just want to put one last crown on her talents to have her double crown for this showcase because her normal attack is actually very important for how we're going to turn her into a DPS. So it looks like we just need a couple more of these, and hopefully we'll have enough of these. We'll see what we got. Okay, let's sort with Iansan here. Perfect. Now, how many? Oh, one. Okay, let's see how many more of these we can craft here. I guess we'll just go all the way. Okay, Xingqiu, this is your time to shine. Please craft me. How many are we doing? Craft me 3 bonus. I think I deserve 3. Let's see if he can craft me 3. 3 bonus, Xingqiu. Okay, 10 bonus. That's not bad. You know what? That is actually really good, Xingqiu. You did a good job. Okay, now I need to bring out Layla. Are we going to bring out Layla now? Or should we do Xingqiu again? You know what? Xingqiu's been working, so let's do Xingqiu once more time. Oh, look at that. Look at all those books. We got so many. Okay, now if Layla just gives us one little bonus. One little bonus. Come on, Layla. Oh, we're 1 off. That's amazing. Okay, let's craft up as many of these as we can. So we'll go Layla here as well. Can we get a double Layla? Yes, Layla. And then we can craft one more. We're exactly there, guys. Exactly there. That is so awesome. Okay, 16 books. And now let's go ahead and transmutate over here. Over here. There it is. Okay, now we can craft up 2 more of these. Perfect. There we go. And alright, now let's check once again. Alright, there we go. We can crown, put another crown on Iansan. Level 10 normal attack talents. That's how far I go for these video guys. Anyway, besides that, my Iansan is completely done in talents and leveling. So now let's go ahead and start showcasing some of her DPS teams. Alright, let's go ahead and start this team showcase by showcasing the build that Iansan is going to be running in 3 out of the 4 teams today. So to start off, she's going to be running the Staff of Homa, which is just a really good stat stick for her. 66.2% crit damage and also really nice base attack on there. Overall, a really good weapon for her. As for her artifacts, we're going to be running her on a 4-piece Obsidian Codex, because of course that is usually the best set for your Not-Lon DPS characters. The stats are pretty good. If you want to go ahead and pause and take a look at some of the substats on your screen now, please feel free to go ahead. They're decent artifacts, not too shabby if I say so myself. And for this showcase, we, as you've probably already heard from the intro, are going to be doing this at C0, even though I did save up 200 wishes again, you know, for C2 Iansan, but Dawei had other plans, so we are stuck at C0, which is really sad. But again, I compensate with that with my talents, which are at 10, 6, and 10. Crowned this so we can get some nice big charge attack damage, and crown this so we can get some really good attack buffs. So overall, this is a really decent build in my opinion. I'm really excited to try it out and see how strong DPS Iansan can be. Okay, now that we've overviewed her main build, we can now review one of the teams we're going to be running, which is going to be Overload. So that's the first one we're going to be trying. It has Chevreuse, it has Xiangling, and it has Bennett. Pretty standard Overload team with Iansan as our only Electro. I'm really excited to see how this team performs, so let's go ahead and try it out. Alright, so let's go ahead and run through the rotation for this Overload team here. So to start off, we're actually going to burst with Iansan and then move into Chevreuse and do her skill. We're then going to go into Bennett, use his skill, and then switch into Xiangling, making sure she gets all of those buffs. Then we're going to move to Iansan, see how much damage we can do with her stomps here. 28 Ks I'm seeing, which is pretty dang good in my opinion. Fortunately, we did run out, but let's go ahead and move into the second rotation here. Make sure we're getting our energy up with everybody. Placing Bennett down on the field. Going back into Xiangling, and then we're going to continue to do our ground pounds, 24 Ks, and then let's go big burst with the Iansan, 142 to finish it off. All right, the rotation there is honestly pretty solid. It's a little bit weird to start the rotation with Iansan's burst, but it makes sure that we get all the buffs with Chevreuse. So honestly, that was really good. I really like how much damage Iansan was doing there. This Overload team honestly does feel pretty good to play. Of course, disclaimer, pay to win disclaimer, Chevreuse is at C6, so that may be a little bit difficult for some people, but Chevreuse is on the banner at the time of recording this, so maybe you want to secure a couple more copies of her. Although, do not wish for the 4-star, guys. I made that mistake. It was a really hard mistake. Alright, next team we're going to be trying out is the Taser Team. So I have Xingqiu and Yelan, two very powerful Hydra supports, and of course, Nahida as well. Just helps us get some extra damage in there, helps maybe provide some aggregate and spread damage. Overall, I think this team will perform pretty well, but let's go ahead and try it out. Maybe it won't. We'll find out. Alright, Taser Team is a go. I'm going to start this the same way I started, Alright, let's go ahead and start with Nahida here, then go ahead and skill and burst with Xingqiu into Yelan's burst and skill. Then we're going to go ahead and tap, and we're going to start doing some charge attacks here. 17k is what I'm seeing. Going to burst with Iansan right now as well. 57k, not bad damage at all. We're going to continue trying to hit this guy. He's at a decent health pool right now. We've got him pretty low. Unfortunately, we are out of stamina, so we're going to have to try to recover some of that if we want a chance at killing this guy right here. Go ahead and burst and skill with Yelan once again, and do one more skill, and he is pretty much dead. Overall, not a bad rotation. Not my favorite team I've played today, but it performed pretty well. I do still think there are stronger teams for her, like the Overload one we just tried out. But you know what? We still have 2 more teams to test, so who's to say? This may be one of her stronger teams. Speaking of being strong, Iansan just whispered to me that one way to get really strong is to subscribe to the Typom channel. And you know what? I'm not saying that. That was Iansan saying that. So I think we should all just go ahead and subscribe to the Typom channel. I think that's a good idea to get stronger. Right, guys? Right? Okay, back to the team building. Alright, for this next build, we're going to be starting with Iansan as she drinks a nice little soda there. As you can see here on the right, we have a ludicrous amount of EM, 1073. Pretty awesome. That is because Iansan is going to be running the Dragon's Bane polearm, giving us a nice juicy EM stat there. And she's also going to be running for artifacts, Flower of Paradise Lost, all statted towards EM. We got EM on here, and EM on there. A lot of EM all around, giving her 723 EM from the artifacts. That is pretty ludicrous in my opinion. Alright, that's the basics for this build, and as for the team, we have Xingqiu, who is just going to be our really good Hydra applicator, love Xingqiu, and of course Kale. Kale's actually really interesting in this team, because she's going to do a little bit more of Dendro applicating. She's also going to be a little bit of a battery. She's also going to be running Instructor set, which if you didn't know is a 4-star set that provides some extra EM to your team, and her C4 is also going to be providing some extra EM to the team as well, which is not only going to buff up Iansan's Hyperbloom damage, but it's also going to buff up Nahida, who's also just going to be applicating all that Dendro and reducing the Dendro resistance. So overall, hopefully a solid team, but let's go ahead and try it out. Alright, let's go ahead and test out this Hyperbloom team here. So we're going to start off by skilling and bursting with Nahida while this big boy gets up here. Then we're going to go ahead and use Xingqiu's skill and burst here, as always. Very normal rotation, honestly, very normal. Then we're going to go like that. Use Iansan's skill, and then we're going to do some normal attacks. and then we do this, and then we use her burst as well, do some normal attacks, charge attack, do some normal attacks, and charge attack, do some normal attacks, and charge attack. I'm pretty sure you understand the rotation by now. It's pretty simple, all things considered, pretty simple, but you know what? It gets the job done, and gets this guy to very, very, very close to death here. I think we can finish him off here. Just a couple more attacks, and there we go. He's dead. Pretty dang fast, all things considered. And Iansan is running away from the crime scene. She's like, I didn't do that. But she did do that because she's a good DPS. This is a pretty interesting team. I feel like it's pretty fast and also pretty consistent. It's a little bit finicky when you have to do the charge attack. Sometimes they don't register. But overall, I really like the Hyperbloom team. I think it's a pretty fun, low investment option because, again, you do not need to use you do not need to level up her talents. So you can keep these at 0, and she'll be just fine. But again, you probably want to level this one up because this is actually really, really good for other teams. But yeah, that is the Hyperbloom team. Overall, pretty damn fun if you want to use Iansan on field and you don't want to invest a lot. Alright, and for our final team we're going to be testing today, it's going to be a very much hyper carry aggro Iansan team. I don't know what to really call it, but I've worked really hard on this team, and I think it's actually pretty good. It uses Sara of all characters to buff Iansan up. She's at C6, so that definitely helps. We also have Shalonen as well, and Nahida again. Nahita's kind of the standout star right now in these DPS Iansan teams. But this team, I found, has worked decently well together, but again, I'm going to showcase it to you, and then you can decide if you like it or not. Alright, let's go ahead and get started on this final DPS Iansan team here. So we're going to go ahead and wake up this big boy who usually does not like me very much because, you know what? I beat him up a lot, guys. I really do beat this guy up a lot. Okay, now we're going to burst with Sara and skill with her. Then we're going to move into our skill with Iansan. Start doing some charge attacks here. We're seeing some decent 30Ks right now. We're also going to go ahead and burst. 85k right there. That is not bad at all. Perfect. One more charge attack in there. Awesome. All right. I don't think the team did too bad there so far. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and move here again with Iansan. Continue trying to do some charge attacks. Fortunately, we don't have our burst up and we are out of energy. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like this team will be quite strong enough to take it down in its first rotation here. Let's go ahead and shoot down its little wings here if we can with Sara. That's the nice thing about having a bow character. We can actually shoot down its wings. Oh my god, Sara's at 305 health. That's a little bit scary, guys. That's a little bit scary. Let's see if we can murder this guy off with Iansan. One more skill here. Perfect. And we took it down right then and there. Honestly, guys, I think that the Overload team was honestly way better than this Hyper Carry team, where we're only trying to rely on Iansan's damage. The damage was just better with the Overload team. I felt we were getting, like, we got over 100k with one of the Overload shots. Unfortunately, this team, definitely not one of my favorites. After comparing all 4 teams against each other, I think there are 2 clear winners for me. That being the Overload team and the Hyperbloom team. Both teams felt very comfortable to play, along with offering a decently consistent rotation. But to truly see which team is the best, let's finish today's episode off strong by pitting these teams up against each other in a speed test. Okay, as I said before, we're doing a speed test here to determine which one of the 2 teams that I've selected are the best here. So let's go ahead and get started by using Iansan's burst, moving into Chev versus Skill, then plowing down Bennett here. I don't know if that's the right word to use. Xiangling comes out, use skill, and then we're going to start doing as many charge attacks as possible. Decent damage here. Okay, can we get it to half health? That's what we want to see right now. We're actually doing really good damage against this guy. Move back into Chev Roos here. See if we can try to take this guy down. If possible here, move into Xiangling. We're also going to push this guy down here. I think if we trigger a reaction here, we can actually take this guy down. Can we do a burst? Look at that, 137k! And he's dead! Man, the nukes with Iansan are actually really, really fun to hit, guys. I don't know, it makes me really happy when I do that. Oh my goodness. Iansan was able to take it down pretty fast, but now we're going to see how the Hyperbloom team does in comparison. Will it be faster? I don't know. We'll have to compare it after. Alright, let's go ahead and finish off today's showcase with the Hyperbloom team. We're going to be able to see which one of the teams is definitely faster. Now we're going to go and throw out all of our skills and bursts here. Let's get Kali on the field now. Burst with her. Gonna skill with Iansan, do some normal attacks and a burst. Normal attacks and a charge attack. You know the drill, guys. Very simple rotation for this team, but a very fun rotation for this team. There we go. Very, very nice. We've almost got it dead, actually. Here we go. I mean, look, it's almost dead. If we could have finished it off there, that would have been really amazing. But unfortunately, we were not quite there. And we can knock it down with the catalyzed reaction. Or not the... What's the catalyzed reaction? That's not even a thing. But we did take it down, guys, pretty easily. Overall, I think both teams performed fairly evenly, all things considered. I guess at the end of the day, if you want to build DPS Iansan, you just gotta consider the units you have, like C6 Shevers, and how much more you'd like to invest in making Iansan into a DPS. I will say that if Iansan was at a higher constellation, I believe her Overload team would be superior, but for people like me who have C0 and were very unlucky on the banner, both teams are pretty even. Overall though, DPS Iansan is pretty fun, and for me at least, it was definitely worth the investment. Alright, that's all for me today. Make sure you subscribe. Bye bye!